Yasaklar ve ihlallerle dolu bir haftayı daha ardımızda bıraktık. Gözaltılar ve tutuklamalar yine hiç eksik olmadı. Soruşturma ve davalara yenileri eklendi. Sulh ceza hakimlikleri, erişim engelleri konusunda, mülki idareler, eylem yasakları konusunda, Rütük'te idari cezalar konusunda bu haftayı da boş geçmedi. İşte bizim gözümüzden ülkenin ifade özgürlüğünün bir haftalık hal ve gidişi.
The indictment against journalist Sedef Kabash, who was arrested on January 22nd for insulting Erdogan with a Circassian proverb she expressed on a TV show, has been completed. In the indictment prepared by the press office of the Istanbul Public Prosecutor's Office, a prison sentence for up to 8 years and 2 months was sought on the charge of successively insulting the president, and an additional 4 years and 8 months of imprisonment was claimed due to Kabash's criticisms of Minister Süleyman Soylu and Adil Kara İsmailoğlu on the charges of insulting a public official because of his duty. Istanbul 36 Criminal Court of First Instance accepted the indictment, whereas Kabash's claim of release was denied. The first hearing was scheduled for March 11th.
Journalists Barış Pehlivan and Murat Ağrel, who were on trial for covering the funeral of a Turkish National Intelligence Agency officer, surrounded after their sentences were upheld. Pehlivan and Hülya Kılıç, who were to be imprisoned again, were sentenced to 3 years and 9 months. Aydın Keser, Ferhat Çelik, and Ağrel to 4 years, 8 months and 7 days of imprisonment.
Mesopotamia Agency reporter Zeynep Durgut was detained with a house raid in Şırnak's Cizre district as part of the investigation initiated by the Şırnak Chief Public Prosecutor's Office. The journalist's meeting with her lawyer was also restricted within the scope of the confidentiality order brought on the file. In her interrogation, the journalist was asked about her journalistic activities and news posts on social media based on the statements of secret witnesses. She was later released by the court she was transferred to 4 days later on the condition of judicial measures.
Tarık Güneş, a lawyer and former Human Rights Association MUSH branch chairman, was arrested and charged of terrorist organization membership. Rumet Agit Özer, one of the lawyers of the MUSH Bar Association, who was detained together with Güneş within the scope of the file based on the report prepared by the association, and the statements made were released on the condition of judicial measures.
An investigation was launched against Sezin Uçar, candidate for the Bar Association from the Libertarian Democrat Lawyers Group, Fırat Epozdemir, a candidate for the Board of Directors, and Seher Eriş, a member of the Istanbul Board of Directors of the Contemporary Lawyers Association, due to commemorating their colleague Ebru Timtik with the speeches they gave at the General Council of Istanbul Bar Association last year. Timtik had lost her life during the death fast she started with the demand for a fair trial, which continued for 238 days.
Emine Şanyashar, who demanded justice for her 2 children and husband, who were killed by Justice and Development Party Urfa Parliament member Ibrahim Halil Yıldız bodyguards and relatives, as well as for her arrested son, was sentenced to a judicial fine corresponding to 265 days in prison in the lawsuit filed against her, with the allegation of insulting a public official. In the lawsuit filed, the mother Şanyashar's words, "This Halil," referring to Deputy Halil Yıldız, "is an interest maker, a thief. Let them go after these thieves. Let's see how many people he killed."
After the press release of Cemevi Board of Directors, which announced that activities were hindered by various administrative and financial fines in Dersim, Nazilliye District Governor Uğur Tutkan shared the photo he had taken in front of the Cemevi with people who were alleged to be police officers carrying automatic rifles in their hands. Cemevi President Sinan Kırmızıçiçek stated that the district governor threatened them by writing, "I will show you the power of the state" in his post, and said, "We do not accept a threat made by a local authority accompanied by police officers against the legitimate belief center of a society." Kırmızıçiçek stated that the Cemevi was viewed as a trade house by the government and said that the fines imposed against them in the last 3 years, for various reasons, in violation of the law on associations, amounted to 60,000 Turkish liras. Making a statement on the subject after the reactions, Tunceli Governorate defended the district governor who threatened the Cemevi administrators, claiming that the photo with the gun was taken to honor the personnel and the administration of the Cemevi was also targeted by the governorate.
The Watch for Equal Rights Association launched data for the Right to Peaceful Meeting and Demonstrations Monitoring. According to the data, in the 4th months of October to December 2021, at least 413 people were detained. During this period, the right to peaceful meeting and demonstration was restricted with 47 general and 22 specific preventions issued by the civil authorities. 33 of the ban restriction decisions taken were repetitive decisions, and the ban ensued has reached 690 days without interruption. The use of the right to peaceful meeting and demonstration in Van has been prohibited uninterruptedly for 5 years, 1 month, and 10 days as of the end of 2021. In addition, recurrent bans in Hakkari, Bitlis, Elazığ, and Batman are maintained by the governorate.
In Adana, the police attacked the press statement that the members of the Furkan Foundation wanted to hold with the demand for the release of 7 of their imprisoned friends on the grounds that they chanted slogans and did not notify the governorate 48 hours beforehand. During the police intervention, many people were beaten and injured.
Mush governorate banned all kinds of press releases, demonstrations, and events throughout the province for 5 days on the grounds of protecting national security and public order. Activities that the local administration deems appropriate were excluded from the scope of the ban.
Ankara Chief Public Prosecutor's Office filed an indictment against former People's Democratic Party Parliament member Mizgin Irgat on the allegation of making propaganda for a terrorist organization. In the indictment accepted by the Ankara 17th Assize Court, Irgat was charged with a 5-year prison sentence for the speech she made at the White Flag Initiative protest held in front of the People's Democratic Party building in Ankara.
Aydın Chief Public Prosecutor's Office launched an investigation against Democratic Regions Party, Aegean Region co-spokesperson Neslihan Arşiv, and People's Democratic Party Parliament member Ayfer Demirel. Within the scope of the investigation, the press releases, panels the party executives have attended, as well as their social media posts, interviews given to the media organs were considered as crimes.
İYİ Party Sivas Şarkışla District Chairman Turgay Şahin, who was sentenced to 1 year, 2 months and 17 days in prison for insulting the president due to a social media post in 2021, was arrested and sent to prison.
The building of Mersin Haberci Daily, which brought up an allegation of corruption and irregularity regarding a tender of Mersin Metropolitan Municipality, was attacked with eggs and paint, oil pans, eggs, and pencils were thrown on the 50-person building by the group, including Republican People's Party Youth Branch Deputy Chairman and Mersin Provincial Youth Branch President.
The Radio and Television Supreme Council sentenced Halk TV to 5 administrative fines and 5 program suspensions due to journalist Ayşenur Arslan's views on the Turkish resistance organization. Halk TV show host Arslan stated in her show that the casino owner Halil Falyalı, who was killed in the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus, introduced himself as a member of the Turkish resistance organization. Arslan further said the Turkish resistance organization was an illegal, let's say semi-official organization known for assassinations on the island and in the nearby hinterland. The council claimed that these words denigrated the national and moral values of the society.
On the other hand, the Radio and Television Supreme Council imposed an administrative fine on the channel from the upper limit due to the Ordinary Affairs TV show broadcast on KRT TV channel for the Minister of Interior Süleyman Soylu was mentioned together with illegal people, and allegations on his relations with these people were discussed on the show.
The Ankara Third Criminal Judicature of Peace issued an access ban against 4 columns, written and related news articles reported by journalists Barış Terkoğlu and Barış Pehlivan, published in Cumhuriyet Daily, in which they brought forward the allegations about the assistance of Minister of National Defense Hulusi Akar.
Rector of Malatya Turgut Özal University, Aysun Bay Karabulut, applied for censorship against another news article about herself. Access to the news published on MalatyaHaber.com on the corruption of irregularities in the university on November 23, 2021, with the title Malatya Turgut Özal University Rector Famous for Fast Enrichment, was banned with a decree issued by Malatya Third Criminal Court of Peace.
Justice and Development Party Van Parliament member Osman Nuri Gülaçar has applied for an access ban against news that contain information, documents and interviews against him. The news article published on AnadoluWebTV.net with the headline, "Is Deputy Gülaçar committing fraudulent activities?" was censored with a decree issued by the Van Second Criminal Judicature of Peace.
The Constitutional Court ruled that the freedom of expression of Türkan Albayrak had been violated as she was dismissed while working at the Sarıyer District Health Directorate on the grounds of security and archive investigation and was repeatedly detained for the sit-in protests she initiated with a request for re-employment and was sentenced to an administrative fine each time. Albayrak was detained 102 times during her 200-day protest.
The lawsuit filed at the Van Second Assize Court regarding the death of 17-year-old Afghan refugee Lutfullah Tajik, who died in the hospital after being beaten at the Van Deportation Center in 2014, was concluded. The defendant police officer S.O. was sentenced to 5 months in prison for simple injury and the sentence was deferred. On the other hand, police officer H.O. was acquitted of the charge of neglect of duty.
Haftanın adliye mesaisi yine bir hayli yoğundu. İade eş genel başkanları bir haftada 2 farklı davada mahkemeye çıktı. İçişleri Bakanı'nın İstanbul Büyükşehir Belediyesi'ne özel teftiş başlatmasına bahane ettiği davanın da ilk duruşması görüldü. İşte haftanın ifade özgürlüğü davalarından bizim seçtiklerimiz.
The Protection of Human Rights Association co-chair Eren Keskin started at Tunceli Second Assize Court on the charge of making propaganda for a terrorist organization for her speech at the panel titled Law, Human Rights and Dersim, held as a part of the Munzur Nature and Culture Festival in 2019. Keskin was acquitted at the first hearing.
The first hearing of Human Rights Association chairman Öztürk Türkdoğan, who was accused of insult due to the statement titled Mandatory Statement Regarding the Minister of Interior, Süleyman Soylu, launched by the Human Rights Association in 2018, was to be held at the Ankara 60th Criminal Court of First Instance. However, due to the judge's excused absence, the hearing was adjourned.
9/8 Haber Editor-in-Chief Gökhan Biçici was acquitted of the charge of insulting the president. The journalist was on trial at the Istanbul 8th Criminal Court of First Instance due to the article titled Reaction from Hacker Group Anonymous to Erdogan with the example of Berkin Elvan, published on June 1, 2020 as part of the case.
The prosecution of 15 trade union members, including Confederation of Revolutionary Workers Union President Arzu Çerkezoğlu, who were detained during the police intervention in the march towards Taksim Square on March 1, 2020, continued at Istanbul 20th Criminal Court of First Instance on charges of violating the law on meetings and demonstrations. The next hearing will be held on April 26th.
The prosecution of the founding member of Rosa Women's Association, lawyer Elif Trenç İpek Ulaş, continued at the Diyarbakır 8th Assize Court on the charge of terrorist organization membership due to her activities within the Rosa Women's Association. The court adjourned the hearing to March 3 for the preparation of an opinion on the merits.
The lawsuit filed against Oda TV editor Caner Taşpınar at the Istanbul 11th Criminal Court of First Instance for his book The Bridegroom, Fethullah's father-in-laws from the Justice and Development Party, concluded with acquittal. Within the scope of the file, the journalist has been accused of insulting former Speaker of the Grand National Assembly of Turkey Ismail Kahraman and Justice and Development Party Parliament member Ali İhsan Arslan.
The lawsuit filed at Antalya 25th Criminal Court of First Instance due to the G20 Antalya Summit protests in 2015 resulted in acquittal. With the scope of the lawsuit, 13 people, including journalists Sema Karakurt and Eylem Sonbahar, were on trial for violating the law on meetings and demonstrations.
The first hearing of the lawsuit filed against the members and administrators of the Religious Scholars Assistance and Solidarity Association, which Interior Minister Süleyman Soylu used as an excuse to initiate an inspection against the Istanbul Metropolitan Municipality, was held at the Istanbul 14th Assize Court on charges of terrorist organization membership and aiding a terrorist organization. The trial of the case, in which the activities of the association, the press statements made by its members, and the protests they participated in, the survey conducted on the Kurdish question and the Kurdish calendar that was issued where the subject of the accusation in the indictment was in progress at the time of this program's broadcast.
The latest hearing of the lawsuit filed against former People's Democratic Party co-chair Selahattin Demirtas was held at Mersin 14th Criminal Court of First Instance on the charge of insulting the president based on her speeches he gave during the rallies in Ankara, Diyarbakır, Mardin, and Mersin between the years 2014 and 16.
Bir hafta daha böylece ardımızda kaldı. Haftaya yeniden görüşmek dileğiyle. Hoşça kalın.